Oh, I would like to add to this. I'm not sure I made my point. Today's not a good day. It's been cold for a long time and arthritis, and I guess I don't know if that's an excuse. I just don't feel good today, and I'm not sure I made this clear enough. The other couple, three tapes, I was trying to show what happened to Tsar Nicholas and Anastasia and mind control murders, which I've been telling about for a long time, that were done in patterns. I've never mentioned the young man from Russia here, but I'm quite sure that he's a mind control victim. So was his brother. It's his last name, Tsarnaev. The Tsar is like for Tsar Nicholas. Um, he's from Russia, and I wanted to put in here again to make my point. Of course, my dad's King Edward VIII that they lied about. His own brother, George VI, illegal as Elizabeth's father, helped take him down. It was a pack of lies with the New World Order and the Kennedys, who was ambassador, Joe was. They helped kidnap me in 41, and they used a double to marry Wallace Simpson. That wasn't even my father. My father was married to Claudia Ruth. Well, right here. I'm getting the O'Keeffe's in there. Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe, and this is the O'Keeffe genealogy sheet. Georgia, the artist is my aunt, my mother's sister. So my dad was married to her legally, and this was all a lie, and his own brother is illegal monarch, and Elizabeth and Roosevelt and the Kennedys and the New World Order went on it. Now then, what I wanted to get to was I wanted to mention this one because I'm sure it is a mind control murder, and he's a victim of mind control. But also I wanted to mention what they've done. You have to make someone look bad to justify what you're doing. So the Freemasons, the New World Order, the Americans. You go back to, I was just looking at a YouTube, and it actually mentioned, well, I know a lot, but I'm just mentioning this because it was on a YouTube video. And it was George Bush Sr., and he was CIA and then president, and he mentioned the New World Order. And I already know it goes way back to Washington, so, they've all been part of the New World Order, Freemasons. But they didn't mention George Bush Jr., the Clintons, and then, of course, he's mentioned right on when the country was shut down, the government. A few months back, he mentioned the New World Order. I saw that when he spoke, and then later it showed up on a video. Somebody had videoed it. So the New World Order's in place. Elizabeth and her brood members, they're using British money, my money. They're illegal. They should be prosecuted. Now then, I want to get to this part. I didn't make this clear, and I want to make the connections because, quite frankly, I've read a lot that Charlottesville, the people around there, have said about a woman who suffered nothing. And, hey, they have really given me hell, so I'm serious. It's unreal. You lose your power and your money, and if they've committed the crime, it's really a joke to them. But the things that they have said that are so unkind and untrue about Anastasia, and it was Anastasia. I told, to give you background a little, if you're just watching this tape, I was kidnapped and brought to the United States and given the name of Peggy Ann Dipsy, married Childers, twins. They were dead. They gave me her name, and I grew up being told that was my name. Their mother, Lina Dempsey, was a psychopath, and she'd actually murdered them. They were born out of wedlock, and my life was a living hell every moment, and so was my kids, Mark and Scott. Anyway, so that I don't start rambling, it's a little too hard to put together in a tape or two, or somebody said like 10 volumes of books. But I did want to say that I was flown out to Larry Flint's during a campaign to replace Larry McDonald, and I met his wife Althea, and that I wanted to make a note about this. I've written about the mind control murders and kept telling about them since I wrote the book and didn't get it published because they put antifreeze in me, and I almost died, even with a letter from the U.S. Attorney's Office dated June the 23rd of 79. April Fool Day, I was filled with antifreeze and crossed the state line illegally and ended up in that condition. I lived working for DA Fred Simpson, Madison County District Attorney in Huntsville. Now then, if I can get back to, I was out at Flint's, and his wife's name was Althea, and I want to make a point about the patterns. It's kind of the timeline, and you got to have a database. But his wife was Althea Flint, and she was later, the end of May, I believe of 87, she died in a heart-shaped bathtub, which mind control was used on her, plain and simple. And Larry Flint didn't do it. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, when I was doing the book, and he was shot in March the 6th of 78, and the person that shot him was programmed to shoot him and kill his attorney there in Lawrenceville. Okay, let me fast forward or whatever back to Flint's home, and Althea's been killed. Now remember the name Althea, and then I'm going to put this video up, and maybe it'll fit in with the other three. His first wife, I found out, was named Peggy, and that's the name that was given me of the twin. And I grew up, and I still have to use that name. My name's Victoria II Margaret Ann Windsor. So Flint furnished me a car, and I never saw him again. And as far as I know, I've never spoken with him again yet. And I put this on the other tapes. I had moved to Falls Church, Virginia, November the 16th of 83. And I lived there working through a temp agency, and I ran for the presidency, which is a joke to a lot of people. So why don't you hear all this from your press and from your presidents who, anyway. I got this Hustler delivered to me, magazine, and it was April of 84 issue. Now then, it was sent to where I lived, and I hadn't spoken with Flint, been able to talk to him or anything since I had seen him in his home October of 83. I got a phone call, so they knew where I was and everything. So I got a phone call, and he said to me, he said, "This is Malcolm Barber, and I'm calling from Hustler Magazine." And I said, "Malcolm Barber?" I said, "Your FBI out of Macon, Georgia." And I don't want to say anything bad. As far as I know, he's a good guy, okay? But the fact that I'm making is they always knew where I am, and he was calling from Hustler Magazine. And he said yes. And he said to me, and it's like the rest of this, people can filter out and they know the truth. They don't have to filter out and believe lies. He said to me that, he said, well, Mr. Flint is just, I forgot the word he used, horrified. He doesn't know where you are. He's afraid you're lost. And, of course, they just sent me the magazine to where I lived, and he's just called me. And I haven't spoken to him, so obviously they know where I am, and I had the car there that was leased. So anyway, I end up, you can't tell it moment by moment, so I end up saying that I was driving the Hustler car. I still had it May of 84, so this is just a few months after I got the phone call from him. And I was coming through Charlottesville, Virginia, and I was just finding out about being kidnapped and my real name and my father being